Hey there, guys and gals. Matt here with Peppercoat Barbecue, and welcome back to the Peppercoat Deck. This morning it's a brisk 34 degrees, and I lit a fire in the Old Country Barbecue Pit's G3, the fully insulated smoker, and I threw on an 8.5 pound pork butt. And today, throughout this cook, I'm going to talk about several things. The big thing at the end of this video, I'm going to answer the question if I think that the G3 is worth that $3,000 price tag. During this video today, we're going to be talking about some misconceptions with the airflow, the convection in the chamber. We're going to be talking about that smoke flavor. I'm going to be looking at the radiant heat that we're getting from these thick walls in this insulated pit. So we're going to be covering a lot of things today. We're going to be watching that bark build, the fat rendering, and see how it does on this pork butt. A lot going on in this video, so stick around. I lit the fire this morning around 5:30, let the pit come up really nice and slow. I threw this pork butt on around 7. I think it's around 8:45 now. Been on about an hour and 45 minutes. So I want to go ahead and open this up, maybe give it a spritz. Well, one thing that I want to do while we have this pit open is I want to check the radiant heat on the back of this pit. When we opened this lid, it was 244 degrees. And you can see here, let's check near the firebox first. Yeah, over here at the firebox, we're around 315. As we come across right here in the center, sitting at around 240, 242. So that's about exactly what our ambient temperature was showing. And then over here at this end, we're down to around 190 over here near the smoke collector. I hope that helps with one of the misconceptions. Again, this pit, I think a lot of people have it in their mind that you light a very small fire and then the pit just goes nuclear and it does all the cooking with radiant heat, and that's not the case at all. I would be curious to know if any of you have a 1/4 inch or a 3/8 inch steel pit for you to do the same test running around 245, 250, and put it in the comments. Let us know what your radiant temperature is across that back wall of your pit. And just so we can see how much difference there is. I would think there would have to be a little bit of difference, but I don't think that it's going to be a major difference. I'm about 2.5 hours into this cook now. Just added a split a few minutes ago, and I wanted to show you something, that has to do with one of the misconceptions that I had about this pit early on, and that was about the convection. And I remember saying that it does not have the airflow or the convection that the Pecos has. And while that is true, on the Pecos, even though when that fire is raging, man, that thing, it will pump like nobody's business. But during the cook, I'm cutting that back because, if not, it's just going to dry everything out. So I think the amount of airflow that we're getting here on the G3 is sufficient. Now I'm 4 hours into this cook, so I want to show you what the pork butt is looking like, what kind of color we're getting. And actually, I've not had this pit open for 2 hours and 15 minutes now. I have opened the door, and I'm going to put my graph up here or over here somewhere. I just took a snapshot of that so you can see kind of how this cook's going. You can see temperature fluctuations, and there's not a lot at all. But let's take a look at this pork butt. Getting a nice color, not a lot of color, but like I said, we're 4 hours in. And so I'm about where I would expect to be at this point. I'm going to go ahead and give this a spritz, and then we'll lock it back down. We are at the 6 hour mark. So let's check on this pork butt and see how we're rendering. We're up to 167 degrees internal temperature. You can see this fat starting to render out really nicely. It's split open here on the top. Oh yeah, I can feel that. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's getting very soft, very mushy feeling already. And my plan as of right now is to pull this around 8 hours. I just spritzed that pork butt 6 hours in, and I wanted to see the coal bed that we have. This fire's been going since 5:30 this morning, so the fire's been going about 7.5 hours. And you can see the coal bed that we have in here, and I'll try to find a picture of the coal bed in the Pecos after 6 or 7 hours or something, and you can kind of see the difference in the size of the fire. and of the coal bed. I'm going to throw this split in here and let this get started. We're 8 hours into the cook now, still holding 266 in the pit. The internal temperature of the pork butt is up to 177. I'm going to pull this off, take it in the house, wrap it, and finish it in the oven. But let's take a look at what we got after 8 hours. Wanted to get a shot of this once I got in the house, just because the lighting is different, and just so you can look at this and compare this to the pork butts that I made on the Pecos just a couple of weeks ago. And I'll put that on the screen also. And you can see the ones on the Pecos, they are much darker than these, and it looks almost like a different texture on the bark. This has more of that mahogany color. I can say for the most part, the fat cap on those in the Pecos was rendered well. 2 of them were not as good as the other 2. This one here is rendering out really nicely. I think the Pecos, the biggest difference in the color is just, again, because of that continually harsh burning fire, made those a little darker, a little blacker than this, and a little different texture. After 2 more hours in the oven at 285 and then an hour rest, we are ready to unwrap this G3 pork butt. So we wound up with a beautiful color on here. It's nice, deep mahogany. That fat is rendered out really nicely. See, that's almost gone. And this is what I'm looking for right here. This caramelized piece of fat. You can see the bone pull back on this side. See how easy that comes out. Oh, yeah. The barbecue turned out great. It was nice and moist. It was cooked nicely all the way through, had a great smoke flavor. I pulled it, invited my 2 daughters and their husbands over, and we had a nice dinner. But now it's the next day, and I've made some notes here, and I just want to go over a few things about the G3. First off, again, I will say that I'm not sponsored by Old Country Barbecue Pits. I do not make any commission off of this. Old Country did send this pit to me, and I really appreciate them doing that. But they did that so people would be aware that this pit will be on the market around the end of April, 1st of May, in case this is what you are looking for. So I appreciate them entrusting that to me, but also I appreciate you watching the channel and, you know, trusting me to give you an honest opinion. I want to talk about some goods and some things that may be possible negatives. And when I say possible negatives, it's because I'm saying I am not an expert with an offset, and some of the cooking methods has a lot to do with the outcome. So with the bark on this, I thought, as far as the fat render and the bark where the fat cap is, I thought it was near perfect. It came off, you can see here in this piece, it had that caramelized, sweet, salty bite to it. And if you've ever had it, you've had it. You know what I'm talking about. I thought that was great. But one of the things that I noticed, and one of my son-in-laws noticed while we were eating, was that the bark was a little tougher, maybe a little drier around the outside, just had a little bit different texture to it. I also noticed during editing, when I rolled this over to show you the color on it, that back side was a little bit darker, the side that was sitting next to that back wall. So there may be more to this radiant heat than what my infrared thermometer was actually showing. I don't know if that's because of the insulated wall, because the door's also insulated and the front side doesn't look like that. But also, this could be due to, you know, I didn't spritz back there, or maybe I didn't spritz as often as I should have. That could also be due to me not having held this pork butt as long. This one only held for about an hour, so it didn't have as much time to moisten back up from that paper that was wrapped around it. So could be several reasons for that. Now, as far as the amount of smoke and smoke flavor that was on this pork butt, those two things they go hand in hand, but they're completely different. You're getting the full flavor of that split that's burning down from start to finish. You're getting a lot of that flavor just from the coals, even after the fire itself is burnt down. Those coals, the flavor of that is coming through the pit. So you get a good full flavor from this smoker, but it is significantly less. Now, most of the people that I have fed from this smoker so far say, oh, it's good. We really can't tell the difference. The average person is not going to tell the difference, but if you're watching this video, you're probably not an average person. And so I just want you to know it is less. Now, having said that, if you have eaten at barbecue restaurants that are using, you know, large pits, 500,000 gallon pits, and I've eaten some of those. I'll use Goldie's for an example. I ate there a couple of years ago. Great food. But when you take that first bite, the first thing that pops into your mind is not, wow, this is smoky. The smoke is just one element to the flavor. And I think sometimes in small backyard pits, it's too smoky. There's just too much smoke for the volume of wood that you're burning versus the volume of the pit. And I feel like the flavor profile from the G3 kind of balances that out a little bit because you're using less volume of wood. I thought overall the flavor is good. Yes, it's less smoky, but it's a very good full-bodied smoke flavor. Is it worth the $3,000? I'm going to say yes. This is a very, very well-made pit, very well constructed. I can tell that Old Country has put a lot of R&D into this, and so it is very, very well done. It's very heavy. I think this thing will last a long time. It is not your typical Old Country pit, and I can't stress that enough. So is it worth $3,000? Yes, I believe that it is worth $3,000. Now, would I recommend that you buy this pit? You know, I think that really depends on you and what you are looking for. I think that this pit should definitely be a contender. Where's my exterminator? Oh, wasp. If you do wind up with the G3 in the backyard, then make sure to come back, comment, let me know. But I don't think that anybody that gets this pit is going to be disappointed. It has quickly became my favorite pit that I have here on the deck. And if it had not, then there would have been an issue, right? Because it costs 5 or 6 times more than everything else I have. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. That's what I got for you. And yeah, I hope that's a help. Like, subscribe to the channel if you hadn't. It's free. Don't cost you a dime. Helps me out. And I'll see you next time on Peppercoat Barbecue.